Yo, this is Umbra, Lord of the Rees, Master of Autism, and the Scourge of Chicken Tendies. To those returning, thanks for your support, and for the new people, I hope to earn your subscription. Today we are switching gears and talking about how IPs live or die with a theory I will call Umbra's Law. Do you ever notice that it seems like creative companies' IPs like Star Wars or Capcom's remastered downgrades like Dead Rising and Onimusha seem to have lost their way? They are pandering to trends and buzzwords like the modern audience and broad appeal to grow their brand, only to fail. Had they known what I will call Umbra's Law, or, to be less self-aggrandizing, the theory of social gravity, they would have never made these catastrophic missteps. The theory is simple. The formation of a fandom around an IP is similar to the formation of a planet. You have a strong, dense core to keep the shape and identity for stability, and an atmosphere which is necessary to keep the planet thriving. For the sake of simplicity, I will separate fans into two types. Let's break them down. The object-oriented fans, or as I would call them, the hardcore fans, these are the ones that like the thing because of the genre, themes, characters, art style, gameplay, etc. These are usually the first kind of a fan to be attracted to your IP, and their passion for the IP is what brings in the second group of fans. The subject-oriented fans, social fans, are the ones that become attracted to the IP because of indirect reasons. These are your people who get involved because they want to be a part of the club. The people who are only in it to cosplay at conventions or play the games in tournaments, things that revolve more around the social element of being a fan rather than the thing itself. To compare it to a planet, the object-oriented fans form your core and are essential to the long-term survival of your IP. The subject-oriented fans are like the atmosphere around it, held in place by the gravity or hype around the IP, but not because of the IP itself. Object-oriented fans tend to be fewer in number, their support less numerous, but more reliable. Subject-oriented fans, while important to maintain a lively ecosystem, are far less directly engaged in the IP, likely to shift to the next big thing the moment it has more hype than you do. A failure to balance this has consequences. An IP that has only object-oriented fans is likely something that stays niche, but lasts a long time with a cult following. Something with mostly subject-oriented fans tends to be a fad, a short-lived flash in the pan, but it lacks the gravity to keep people in place. If you want your IP to stand the test of time, you need to know how to manage both. It's simple enough, some might even say intuitive, but why is it that people that make more than 100 times the amount of money that I do keep screwing this up? The mirage of the wider audience stems from a misunderstanding that social fans can be attracted by changing the core of the IP to appeal to them. The problem is that they aren't here for that in the first place. They crave connection and belonging, and changing the IP doesn't affect them in any serious and long-lasting way. But it does affect your core. And without their gravity to hold everything together, your changes will simply fall flat, and in the long term, your IP will fade into irrelevance. Ghostbusters is a great example of this. 2016 Ghostbusters tried to modernize it and nearly killed the franchise completely. Ghostbusters Afterlife, however, returned to form and achieved surprisingly high success for a franchise that had become a ghostly wisp of its former self. Another good example of this is Star Wars. They sought to change the IP to appeal to subject-oriented fans at the expense of their object-oriented fans. And while they saw initial success, eventually apathy kicked in. This can be seen in them gutting the expanded universe that kept the Star Wars fandom alive during its dormancy from the release of Return of the Jedi to the release of The Phantom Menace. The core was so strong and so dense that even the lackluster release of Episode 1 didn't even dent the fan enthusiasm. Compare that to the rise of Skywalker. Many fans were divided by the release of The Last Jedi a couple years prior, but without the expanded universe to keep them engaged and active, the hardcore fans stopped buzzing, making the IP less exciting to be involved in socially. And the social fans left to find something more exciting. Now Star Wars struggles to achieve even a fraction of the buzz they once had. A well-maintained IP is one that recognizes the difference and appeals to both groups in different ways. Consistent lore, strong adherence to themes, and respect for the IP's roots keeps the object-oriented fans buzzing. Make them buzz hard enough, and even normally niche IPs will attract others even just through the sheer passion. The "I have no idea what he's talking about, but it's fun to see him talk about it" effect. Warhammer 40k lore channels are a great example of this. Why else would people not even involved in a hobby or IP listen to a passionate nerd gushing about a specific event in your lore for sometimes over an hour? Passion is what brings them in. Social fans should be appealed to not by changing the core experience of the IP, but through social events, tournaments, convention presence, community forums, and such. Changing the IP won't help them because they want to engage with the community more than anything. Lean into that and you can turn your IP into a subculture of its own. Social fans often outnumber the hardcore in some push for changes, be it for social agendas, political clout, or just to make a mark, even if it ruins the IP. Know your IP's heart and your hardcore base will stay grounded, but don't neglect your social fans. They love the buzz and community, and that's valid. Invite them into the party. So to bring this rant to an end, I want to make sure I specifically address social fans. I understand that throughout this video, rant, rambling thing, that it might seem like I am dismissing you. I am not. But I am recognizing what you actually care about. Rather than having the creative team waste their time making changes you don't really care about, wouldn't you prefer they spent time facilitating more events, better meetups, and more community support? You are important to the success of the IP. There's no question about that. But to appeal to you is something that doesn't need to come at the expense of other parts of the fandom. We can all win here. And I just want to make sure that I pointed that out. I will be following this up with a video series dissecting the aspects of IP and how to discern the differences in types of fans within those communities. This is how I will give a guide and practical explanations of how to apply Umbra's law. Until then, thank you for your time today. Please comment below if there is an IP you'd like to see me examine in Autistic Detail. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, remember, passion is nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you, and good night.
And now, folks, it's time to say good night. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.